So in today's video, it's going to be version 1.5 for Zigbee. Mainly because I see lots of people going, oh, Zigbee doesn't work properly, it keeps crashing and I keep losing it and it all goes horribly wrong and I don't know what to do and it keeps breaking and all the devices fall off. So first video, link up there, covers the basics and it covers what you should do to make Zigbee work. So watch that one first. This is going to be, I'm still starting at the beginning, but I'm kind of going to talk about the setup of Zigbee and using Zigbee2MQTT and some tricks. So the problem with Zigbee is a sensor you need to work all the time because when you walk by it, it makes a light come on. When its battery runs out, what do you do? Well, when it falls off the network, what do you do? And how do you know? And what happens is she who must be obeyed comes in and said, lights aren't working again. You don't know where or what, but something's broken. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and fix your Zigbee for you. So you've kind of got everything that's there. So let's roll the credits and get into it. So let's get into Zigbee2MQTT. So it's just off the main menu here. The interface has been kind of majorly redone. Quite like it. You get two main things coming in here. You get dashboard or devices you can choose. Dashboard gives you kind of breakdown of what's going on for everything that's there. And you can see all the controls and kind of everything that's possible on each of the devices. And then devices is just a list. It's a list of things that are there. Now I like sorting this out because I'm not really interested in the IE address. The name, model, not really. It's not that helpful. Type is quite useful because you can then see what's a router and what's an end device. Working my way across, LQI is the signal strength. Sometimes it's a bit misleading because when the battery's low, the signal strength goes down. Last seen is kind of useful. Availability, power source. Not sure I really need power source. And then in the end, the controls. So this shows battery level as well. So we've got all these things that are set up here. Then on to groups. So let's talk about the other menus. So we have groups. Now this is mainly for Zigbee, and if you're going to control it kind of within Zigbee. So you can create groups, you can make things kind of work together. We'll kind of skip it. It's not really the subject of this video. The next one's OTA. Now you can push firmware updates to individual devices and schedule it. That's kind of what that does. TouchLink is something new to Zigbee. What you can do is you can join two networks together. So prime example for TouchLinks is devices that might work together. So you might have a Zigbee remote control and you might have a Zigbee light bulb. They're on separate networks. You can use TouchLink to join the networks together and control one device to the other. Okay, we'll come back to networks because that's really exciting. Logs shows you where you've got errors and what's going on. I was playing groups earlier and it's errored. Settings is kind of quite interesting. Let's just kind of go through that. So it tells you the health of what's going on. It shows you how many messages have been sent backwards and forwards. You can see whether you've got chatty devices. You can see whether you kind of got gridlock. There's loads of interesting stuff in there. Settings is it's kind of like the old settings menu, but on steroids. So front end, what you want to have, what you want to do with MQTT. Most of these you leave as is. Where it's connected to. Availability is worth switching on. So availability, you need to click that box there. The other thing about availability, there's two sorts. there's active and passive. Active means routers and things that have got a power to them. So active means I'm going to check it every 10 minutes to make sure it's still there. And it'll make it available if it's there or unavailable if it's not. Passive is where for sensors and things. So by default, it's 1500 minutes. So quick number on the screen when I can be bothered to work that out. How many days that is, because sometimes you're not going to go past that sensor, so it will never wake up or the temperature won't change. So that's the passive and active. So when you've got this availability on, you can see what's going on. More about that later. OTA updates, kind of how it's going to work and what data. Again, I've left the defaults. Advanced, you can say whether you've got multiple adapters and kind of exciting things like that. Also what channels being used and what format the last seen date's in. Okay, the last one's HomeAssistant integration. Do you want it on or off, and what do you want your MQTT messages? Quickly look at tools. So we can download the state, we can get a backup, we can install code. You can add code to MQTT to make things better. You can localize device images, so you're copying your control system kind of locally, and whether you've got kind of bridges and stuff like that. And there's a development console where you can put payloads and things in. Last one, front end settings. It's got a couple of simple things. So whether the home page, as I mentioned earlier, can go to devices or dashboards. What your join time is. So by default, it's 254 seconds. You could bring it down if you wanted to. The maximum on-screen notifications, when you get an issue or something happens, it comes up down the bottom here. Okay, the last one, I'll just mention permit join. Normally, you'd go join a device and it would kind of use all your routers to go, let's add it to there. What you can do is go, I want a particular router to deal with the join. Now, it might be that you're trying to force it to join in a certain part of the house. Little proviso on that, Zigbee's always going to find the way it thinks best. It's the way it works. So, okay, so that's all the menus. Let's go on to the next section now. Oops, nearly missed a really important section. If you go into network, click enable routes and click load, and then count to quite a big number, because what it's doing is analyzing your network and working out what's where and when and how and kind of stuff like that. So it can take a couple of minutes to analyze it. Data map with all the devices, what parents things have got and what subordinates they've got, and what siblings they have. So that's really exciting, isn't it? Nah, this is though. If we go and change to map, okay, that is a force directed 2D map that you can zoom into. So where's my coordinator? Just there. So there's my Zigbee coordinator, and there's a few things going around here. It looks like I've got issues with freezer temperature. It's not communicated for a while. Freezer door is there. Lounge fireplace, kind of lots of things. It's got a view of everything in your setup. The single numbers are what the communication is from the device. If you've got two, then it's kind of two-way communication. The higher the number, the better. But as I said before, these are all dependent on what the battery life is and kind of things like that. You want good numbers, but it's not a problem if they're bad numbers unless they're bad all the time. I think that makes sense. Why is it exciting? Well, because you've got different sorts. You can do it in 3D, where you get a 3D view. Yeah, I'm a child, I admit that. It's kind of like, it's put things together that kind of work together in this. That's what the squares are. Anybody interested, poppity pling is a slang word for microwave in Welsh. And it amuses me. You've got different sorts. You can even have circular view, so you can kind of see what's connected to what. So you can see that's my main mesh, these red connections here. That's really useful if you're looking at problems and kind of dealing with what's there. So that's the map. And as I said, let's go on to the next section. Oh, the bad news is I'm out of CR 2024, so I'm going to have to order them from Amazon. So that one I'll have to wait. I'll dissolve that one. This is Martin for the future. I realised I hadn't actually mentioned what the problem is. The problem here is Zigbee signal. Zigbee signal is puny at the best of times and has trouble getting through proper walls and things like that. When you see the walls in this place, you'll know why there's a problem. Back to the recording. 3 bananas, 4 bananas. And this wall, 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 bananas, 4 bananas. Up there is my, it's a Sonoff one in here, a Sonoff coordinator. Now it's there because it can talk to the kitchen, which is through just one door that way. It can then also talk to things in here. And the thing that's got a battery problem is this, which, can I get apart with one hand? No, of course not. And it's got a little battery in. So let's see if I can find one of those. So let's fix the things that we can't fix, and I'll show you 2 ways of doing that. So if we go into devices, and again sort by availability. So I've got the bedroom temperature sensor, which I can't find. So what I'm going to do is click remove. It's going to come back and say, do I want to force removal? Well, if I don't force removal, it won't remove it, because to be a nice removal, both ends, my end and the sensor, have to go, yeah, I agree. So if I don't press force remove, it won't get removed. I'm not going to click block from joining again, because it'll remember the address of that device and won't let it back on again, which when I find it I might add it. Okay, so we'll click delete on that one and it kind of goes straight away. The other thing you can do with my front door sensor is if you click on it and go into settings, and you can pick in here disabled. Now, that's not going to kind of remove it completely, but it's kind of taken it away, so you can't see it anymore. You notice you kind of got that on the outside. For the other ones, I'm going to remove them, because if I find them again I can add them. So it's just a case of clicking on here, force remove, click delete. I'm going to click on here, force remove, click delete. Backroom stairs I'm just going to disable for now. Oh, missed. Okay, so that's kind of sorted out the basics of what's going on here. So I look at devices now, everything is showing online or disabled, I've got nothing else. So things that I should look at is the bedroom curtain needs charging up. Well, I can do that in a minute. And anything else? Well, what we can do is we can sort by battery level. There's nothing I can do about the NA ones, but we've got lots at 100, a couple at 98, a couple of 50s. Okay, I'm going to need to do something with these. So I'm going around and I'm fixing stuff that I know that's broken. So we're all set up now. What we really need to do is take the stuff that we've just added from Zigbee2MQTT and push it into HomeAssistant. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. Zigbee2MQTT devices end up in, it'd be so much better if I knew my alphabet, MQTT. So these are all the MQTT devices. There's a couple in here. There's mainly Zigbee ones, but I've got a few other things. So what we want to do is we want to pick the devices that we want to pull stuff across, green bin movement. And what we want to do is, you notice last seen is not there because it's been disabled. So what we can do is we could click on this, we can click on the cog, we can click enabled, and we can click update. And within 30 seconds, quick speed up. There we go. Last seen is unknown because it's only kind of a new element. So you could now spend the next 3 hours adding those things in. Nah, don't do that. That'd be silly. So what we actually need to do is go to here and go to entities, apply a filter for MQTT devices, put in last seen. I'm going to remove this enabled. Put in last seen. So we've got integration. We've only got integration in the filters of MQTT. Everything else in the filters is switched off. We then type last in here, and if you look, we've mainly got last seen stuff. So if we then pick this box, enter selection mode, I'm going to pick everything and unmove that one because it's the wrong thing. It's not just plain last seen. And that looks all fine. And then if we click on these 3 dots, you can say enable selected. "30 seconds, they'll all be done." And then you need to do the same thing with link quality. So once we've done link quality, enable selected, click enable, click OK, and they're all enabled, and within a little while all that information will be in HomeAssistant. So we've done all the technical bits. Let's put it all together with some code and make it look nice. I've had to change location and I can't get back to my other Home Assistant. So I've gone round and broken lots of things here. Honest. And we're kind of working in a new place. I'm just going to say bloody squirrels. It's why I can't connect. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a card that you can look at to see where things have gone wrong. So this is I'm going to go into my from scratch. I've created a new card called Zigbee, and let's add some stuff into it. So we'll go into here and we will add a new section, and I'm going to use a markdown card. I think you'll notice that I sometimes call it markup card because that's what you're doing. So in here, a markup card means you can just put some code in. Now I've written all the code for you, so that's kind of interesting. To get hold of it, you can either watch me really, really closely now when I paste this information in, or I'll scroll up and down so you can read it, or you could join my mailing list and you'll be able to get this sent directly to you. So these are all the broken devices here. So I could put a title and call it Broken Zigbee. Click save. There you go. I always forget and then I always do it wrong. And we don't need this. Okay. So that's kind of a little bit depressing. So what we'll do is we'll go to the other side. I've done it again. We'll go to the other side and we'll add in another markdown card. Oh, probably better that I know my alphabet. And again, join the mailing list and this will get sent straight to you. Okay, and this is the other way around. Let's call it working Zigbee. And click save. Okay, and if I click done, there you go. Oh, we're going to need to do edit, aren't we? Delete. Okay, looks okay. It's not brilliant. What I think we should do is put the total numbers in a badge so you can just kind of look and see what's going on. Can I do that a different way? We could do it in code, but I'm going to do that in a different way. So the different way is we're going to use helpers to get the value, and there is a reason for using helpers, which we'll come to in a minute. So helpers are in settings, devices and services, helpers. Again, I've got the code for you. Join the mailing list, link in the description. What I'm going to do is we're going to create a helper, and it's a template helper. It's a template sensor helper, and all you have to do is paste the code into this part here, give it a name, and I'm saying call it stale Zigbee count. Okay, it's 17. Click submit. Click finish. And then create a helper, a template helper. It's going to be a sensor template helper, and this time we're going to count the working ones. So again, call it working Zigbee count. Click there. 20 of those. Click submit. Click finish. We then need to go back to our Zigbee dashboard to edit. So back in our Zigbee template, we need to edit it, and we're going to add a badge, and it's going to be an entity, and the entity we're looking for is style Zigbee count. Okay, I'm going to make the content, not pink, red. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing, entity, working Zigbee count, click save. Okay, if I click done, we've kind of got that here. So why did I put these in a template? Because then what you could do is go into settings, automations and scenes, create a new automation, add a trigger and make it time-based. I won't do that now. You can then add an action, add a condition where an entity and numeric state, the entity is going to be stale Zigbee is above five. Zigbee problems. Oh, add a description, add a category. Yeah. Okay. You could then do a notification, or if you've watched my previous videos, we could run a script that notifies. Notify Martin. Okay. Something is broken. Content tell me it broke. Click save, and I could run that now, and we'll get a notification. Oh, look, something is broken, tell me a joke. Right. I'm hoping that's enough. Like I said, the code is in my mailing list. It's too much to put in the description. So if you join the mailing list, I can send you the stuff. Right, off to the final section. Okay, the last section I'm calling common sense. Why common sense? Because that's kind of what's required. You've seen I've got walls that are 3, 4 and 5 bananas thick. Zigbee signal is not going to get through them. You've also seen I put the coordinator in a place where there's a door between it and the kitchen. And at the same time, you can see the hall and other things that are there. As well as that, I've had to think about where things are going to go. So I've put plugs in a place that can see into another room. So there's kind of line of sight into what's there. I've heard people say, well, they put 4 plugs around the outside of a room and that makes a mesh and that makes it work. Makes sense. So last section, common sense. You need to have your routing devices in the right places. Hopefully the code I've given you today, which you can get by joining the mailing list, link in the description, will help you find things where there's a problem. If you could like and subscribe, that would help me. And I will see you on the next one, unless you want to watch this video or this video. I never know how long I'm supposed to stand here like this. Quick, play some music.